All right, so this is a work session of the Board of County Commissioners, and we're waiting to get an update from the SBDC. In the meantime, we have Marla with us. She's the director of the Economic Development Corporation, and we're just going to get a brief update from her on things at the EDC and the Airport Industrial Park.
Hi, Marla.
Hello. So I haven't talked to the folks at the airport yet, but we've been researching some potential grants that we can do some infrastructure work with. And I am trying to get with the major providers of utilities here in the next 3 weeks to kind of get a sense of that. And then I know we're working on the title concerns. But actually I've had a couple leads of folks that are wanting to relocate and potentially would possibly relocate in the industrial park, but I don't know if we'll have it ready in time.
So we're still planning to potentially go after the ready funding for the next phase with the Airport Industrial Park now that we've got some title work going there.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. There's also some EDA grants for infrastructure that we've kind of put some concept ideas on paper that I'll share with you once Gail puts her, Gail, you met Gail when I was here for my first interview. She's my English major that makes sure that the grammar and everything is spelled correctly. She's working right now.
Cool. Other than that, how's your first little bit of time with us then?
Really good. I met with the developer of the rail yard, and I've met with another housing developer and trying to chip away at meeting with board members and kind of doing a SWOT analysis with the board members with what we need to do. And specifically working with the resiliency group to try to figure out what the next needs are for the small business owners and tallied that data this morning. The developers, the rail yard project, I spent 3 hours with him yesterday. We saw his designs, and then we literally walked the property out there across from Safeway and got a good sense of his timeline and all the hiccups that he's had and recommendations. And I don't think this is his last project here. He candidly has had some frustrations, but you know, we all have through COVID and the timing of that project. And the remediation was his biggest frustration of all the work he had to do on that land to get it ready. And you all know that already.
Cool, thanks, Marla. Do you have any questions of us?
Not at this point. A priority for us, I know, is the Airport Industrial Park. And I would like to circle back with John and the rail yard project, even though I know it's in the city limits, but it does impact the county. And he just has some future projects that he's thinking about that would be in the county. I pressed him yesterday a little bit and asked the question. I was like, this isn't your one and done, is it? I mean, will you do another project in Lake County in Leadville? And he said, absolutely. He was getting his driver's license here, so he will be a permanent resident in Colorado now and not in Missouri. So that was a good sign for me too.
Marla, are you in reaching out to Excel? Do you need any assistance or any more background on some of the conversations we've had over the last couple of years trying to get that alignment of the gas? Okay. Michael and I meet every Thursday morning. I don't know if you have time tomorrow morning, but we can certainly set up another conversation. But I'll shoot out an email to us or the three of us at least. I'll include the other commissioners, and we'll get up to speed on that. Yeah. Get you up to speed, and however we can help, with the liaisons and reps that we have and are dealing with now. I want to be sure that we all kind of approach that as a unified force.
Absolutely, that would be fantastic. Tomorrow packed with meetings, with trying to set up meetings with our existing board members to kind of get a one-on-one. I'm calling it mask to mask.
Yeah.
So I have 4 of those tomorrow.
Okay.
And also, Commissioner Mudge, if you have a connection with the internet provider, I've been hearing some of the internet providers have good service, some do not. The rail yard project is using a new provider out there, and he's a little concerned about them, but he's going to give them a shot. So that connection would be greatly appreciated too.
Okay, I'll include Meet RIT and even maybe our next, or we should maybe speak with the COG too, Council of Governments. There's been some transition and turnover down there though too, so the economic development kind of focused staff person there is no longer with them, but we'll work on kind of connecting all the dots and people.
Well, and one last crazy question, but John asked me this yesterday. He knew that the county had an irrigation system to water the grass out there in the front. And he has been looking for a local contractor that he wouldn't have to go all the way to Denver to have that provided. And I was like, I'll do some research, but if you guys have any insight of an irrigation company within, this area, within BV.
Okay, I'm not, irrigation where on the property? On
Good.
Tritz Park, did you mean?
No, in front of the county offices, there's an irrigation system to water.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
he was trying to find a local vendor, or that someone could put some irrigation systems out there, because he has several parks and he also has some frontage area that he wants irrigated with grass. He didn't want to use a contractor or, a vendor from Denver if he didn't have to.
Sure, okay. No, I'll add that too. That's a good question for Public Works as well, or our maintenance guys.
Thanks. Did we have 2? There's Jamie.
There's Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Can you hear us? Oh, let's see. Okay. All right. Hi, Jamie. Oh, we're.
Hi, I'm sorry for the challenge.
Oh, so this is Jamie. She's our representative from the SBDC. We share a partnership with Chaffee and Park County, and so she wanted to give us an update today and talk to us about some programs. So I'm going to just turn it over to you, Jamie.
Okay, and thank you. Everyone I know, is it Kayla? I'm trying to look. Kayla and Sarah, is Glenn here? Or Mark Glenn as well?
No,
Mark,
he's not today.
Okay, and I see Marla and Christina. So hi everyone, my name is Jamie Bilsbach and I'm the Center Director for the Central Mountain SBDC. And I prepared a report, and Kayla, I just sent you the online handout, so we don't need it for today, but I just want you to know on the 2 reports that I'm sharing that you were just sent backup documentation, and that's important because it has the hot links. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen with a PowerPoint. And please ask me questions or interrupt me at any point to stop me, because I can just ramble and ramble sometimes. It is not letting me share the screen.
is it asking you to ask permission, Jamie?
No, it just doesn't allow me to push. Once I can push screen share, but then when I try to click on my computer, oh, it might be working now. I think I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
So do you have the first slide?
It's loading. Yep.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to do an overview because I know that we met almost a year ago in relationship to Lake County being a host, but we now are up and running, and I literally started from an empty office. So I wanted to do an overview of the whole year, but try to be quick, and then dig in deeper on some of the more current information. The big thing here is I just want you to be aware that we offer free local consulting, and we also have access to all our network of consultants. We offer free or low cost training. Obviously, with COVID going forward, all the training will be free. And then we offer access to money and capital. And you can see here the hot links. Literally, we didn't have a website or anything last August 16th when we opened. So we now have a fully operational website. We're on the social channels of Facebook, Instagram, and then we've collected quite a library of YouTube channel programming. And that's the hot link, but I'll dig into that a little bit more later. So I'm just trying to, we are aligned, and I think this is different. Our SBDC network in Colorado is different than a lot of other SBDC centers. Specifically, our centers are operated under the Office of Economic Development and International Trade in Colorado. And Glenn Plagans is our director of rural prosperity. So he's very active in our weekly and biweekly calls. And then Joey Jenkins is my state boss. He's the state center director. And you're always welcome to reach out to him directly. And then Delaney Keating is with Startup Colorado. And they are kind of an interesting part of the government and private sector in offering funding, training, resources, and that sort. So I'll talk more about that in a moment as well. With OEDIT, we also have access to the Rural Support Outreach Group. Tom Monaco actually came to Lake County, met with John Wells before Marla had joined the team, and several of the other local businesses to share what he does and how he potentially could help. But we also have access to Katrina Pappenbrock, who happens to also be speaking next month on our Power of We forum series. And then Greg Thompson. And I'm sharing those links again because you can access them directly at any time that you need, or you can reach out to us here at the center to say, I need help with this. Can you do an introduction? OEDIT works in collaboration with county and municipal governments, local and regional economic organizations, the councils of governments, businesses through Manufacturers Ed, Startup Colorado, and our network, and community organizations. Next, they have all these different kind of sub areas that they focus on. And I just want to make sure you're aware of them, and those have hot links. Particularly, we're working with them now with this new funding with the CARES Act through DOLA that is being rolled out, and also the new Energize Colorado program. Our key counselors, we had started with just myself in August, and then Sean Allison, who had been a part of the West Central counseling group, joined our team. And Susan Dunn also joined. She was an existing counselor for 10 years, and Sean 7. Sean's expertise is in small business development. He's also a realtor, so he can help with small business acquisitions of real estate and also acquisitions of businesses themselves. And he's also a past entrepreneur, so he's very well-rounded and can help in a lot of areas. My background is in brand development, marketing, purchasing, and operations, so I have kind of a broad aspect. And then Susan Dunn's focuses in marketing, and she was also a past CPA, so has a lot of financial background. Stephanie Amend is our newest counselor, but she's worked through the SBDC network for years through TechSource out of the Boulder office, and is a great new addition to our team. Michelle Hod is literally a rocket scientist. She's has her MBA and very broad in business. She did all our finance training for the New World Business Training Series, and she's also a past entrepreneur. Cheryl Mahaffey, you may have known her. She had Bongo Billy's Coffee, and so they were at ski at Copper Mountain, and then also in Buena Vista and Salida, and also owned Mother's Bistro. So she has a very broad business background, but specifically in operations and restaurant. And then Leanne Presley is our marketing social media guru. Really, you'll see her work in our website, on our YouTube channel, and on our Facebook channels. Next, I really want to go over this because last year, and I don't know if you can see my arrow, our main grant was $55,000. This year in 2020, we were awarded $80,000, and going forward, they're saying that that's guaranteed moving forward and can increase, but most likely will stay consistent until we show more impact. And I can address any questions on that at any point. That makes our matching grants go up somewhat. So Chaffee County's portion of 60% is $18,000. Lake County is $72,000. And Park County is $72,000. In addition, we've got our Certified Small Business Grant, which actually was acquired by Wendell Pryor before our center even existed. And I just finished spending that Certified Small Business Grant the end of June and submitted the final submissions for that. And then for a short term, we had just from January to February, we had program income. We had started charging $15 for people to attend our sessions. And we did that because we were offering workbooks, printed workbooks that went with the Facebook and Instagram training that we had. And the actual cost of the workbook was over $15. So I was just trying to recapture some of the cost, because we also had presenter costs and venue costs and food costs. So that made our subtotal for our main grant $126,000. And just recently with the CARES Act, our center was awarded an additional $105,000 for training and counseling, and I'll dig in deeper about what we've already spent to date on that. And the good thing is it doesn't have matching grants. So we literally get an additional $105,000 for a total budget of $231,006. In addition, with the CARES Act, the state network, which is a network of 15 centers, received an additional $1 million. And what they're doing with that is they're finally doing statewide training for all of our centers. So we have consistent messaging, we can up our level of professional training. And then we have access to those evergreen moving forward, so that when we do training curriculums here, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well, we can kind of make them more unique to our rural area. And it allows us much more flexibility. And as you probably know, with your budget, 105,000 in training doesn't go that far. Okay. The areas that we help small businesses, and you can see the map of how our network is divided. I feel very blessed because we just cover Chaffee Lake and Park County. As you can see, several of the other center directors, I think of my cohort, Erin McCluskey, who has all of these different counties. So we are lucky to focus in our area, and we help with business startups, planning and management, employee ownership, our tech source and SBIR programs, and disaster relief. And I had no idea when we started last August that disaster relief with COVID would become so huge. Which leads me to, I think this is a really important slide on the report that I'm also submitting to you. This, both reports have these hot links, and it's, I think, very important as county commissioners and key influencers that you know these resources are available and you share it with small businesses. We have a COVID company, statewide COVID page for support, which is coloradosbdc.org/COVID. In addition, yep.
Sorry, can I interrupt you for a second?
You sure can.
Would you be able to put that on like your full screen? Just so that if we share this recording, people can maybe see those links a little bit better. Is that possible?
Yeah, I think it is in my full screen, isn't it? Or is it half and half?
Yeah, if you press that, maybe.
Because I couldn't see you guys or anything. Is it? Are you seeing my next?
Yeah, we can see that part.
Huh.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Are there more options in that where the three dots are there?
Display setting. Swap presenter. Is that better?
That is better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt. That's much better.
No, I appreciate the interruption. Plus, as I said, I can just keep talking and go too quickly sometimes. So interruptions are good. So the slide that I want to make sure that because this is recorded, that you're able to share is this Colorado link, which is our Small Business Development Center Network's website with all the COVID resources, which are just hundreds. And then to complement or even go deeper into that is the choosecolorado.com/COVID-19. OEDIT, which is Office of Economic Development and International Trade, also has all sorts of links. And in both cases, the Energize Colorado program, which is opening August 1st, links to that will be on both of these websites as well. So I should, because this is the newest program and longly awaited, we've been hearing about this for about 6 weeks. The Governor Polis, along with a team of private sector lenders and funders, as well as public, created the Energize Colorado program. And it is really brought to supplement what small businesses didn't get for EIDL and PPP, and also address some of the more minority businesses and women-owned businesses. It's open to any small business, but there's a list of, you get extra points if you're a minority business or a women-owned business, or you didn't receive any PPP or EIDL funds. So this opens August 1st. The important thing here is to click on that link and sign up for the newsletter now. So as soon as it opens, you can be ready to apply. Just sent out a newsletter yesterday with what you would need to prepare to apply for those loans and grants, and our SBDC network and our local counselors are here to help you make that application process. Even if we have to be in a Zoom call and you share your screen and we apply together somewhat. So there's all sorts of resources to make sure as many of our rural small businesses get this funding through loans or grants. In addition, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Is this specifically like the nonprofit we would apply, or do the businesses apply individually?
It's available for both. So it's available for small businesses and nonprofits if the nonprofit supports business. So my challenge right now is I can't see any of you, but I think that was Marla. So Marla, with Lake County EDC, because you are focused on helping small businesses, you would qualify.
Okay. Thank you.
And they all, yes, and they're also giving points if you're in tourism, because they recognize tourism businesses have also been badly impacted. So I know that I sent that newsletter out yesterday to our database, which is now up to about almost 1,400. But if you need a copy of that again to share with your network or through Lake County's newsletters, this one is so important. I can send you just the unique link and then you can share it under your logo and all of that. Next, Startup Colorado is doing these incredible business resource calls for COVID and disaster, and bringing in national and state experts every 2 weeks now. Our call is actually, our region call is coincidentally, it seems bizarre, part of the Eastern Colorado region. And so that call is at 3 o'clock, and I'm a part of that and facilitating it each week, always in the closing. And then we have our other center directors from SBDC centers and the Startup Colorado team that puts that together. And the great thing is it's then recorded, so small businesses or county commissioners can go to this YouTube channel afterwards and see the previously recorded sessions. Some of the top sessions that I can recommend looking at is they did an incredible session on wicked problems, which COVID certainly is. And then they also did legal issues through our OEDIT. They have free legal resources for small businesses and nonprofits, but this specific session was on if you did file for insurance for assistance because you had damage of COVID and the insurance company denied you, which they have done pretty much consistently across the nation. It tells you how you can follow up and fight that, and their lawyers will help you fight it. So those were wonderful sessions. They also had one on Main Street America, and consumer trends. So I highly recommend going back and looking at those and knowing that you can participate on the calls every 2 weeks on Wednesday. And then Colorado Lending Source, we work with them on Main Street loan programs. Marla, even with the EDC, I can pull in Tom Monaco and our team to help you with Colorado Lending Source if you'd like to. So it's, there's just an amazing amount of resources to me. And I wasn't in government. I was all in my past careers focused on small businesses. So I had no idea so many government resources were available. And because Colorado is so focused on rural, they're really supportive to our areas. Any questions on that? Because that's probably one of the most important slides of this whole session.
No, I think that's really good information for us to take back to our recovery meeting and to give to our business advocates. Will you be able to send us the slides for from this presentation, Jamie?
Yes, and I did send them to Sarah, Chris Floyd, and Kayla. But if you let me know, if you send me your email, you can just email me at info@centralsbdc.org. I'm happy to send this deck out to anyone.
Jamie, just a couple, those are the YouTube videos that you had mentioned with OEdit, right? The wicked problems. Can you just say those real quick again that you highlighted?
Yes, there's wicked problems. There's legal advice for small businesses.
Okay.
There's consumer trends. And another great session was on sort of how COVID was going to impact Main Street programs and the silver lining in some of that as well.
Okay.
Those were the highlights. They have like 20 different sessions, but to me, those were the most helpful for me and how I see small businesses in counties having resources. The wicked problems, I'm attending another one tomorrow that Startup Colorado is kind of testing with us, with directors, to see how they can finesse it to then film and have available in a longer session. So as soon as that's available, I'll be happy to share that as well.
Okay.
All right, this slide I'm going to go through very quickly just to make sure that everyone is aware, and I know it's been in the news continuously, that the PPP applications are still open through August 8th. And that program can be fully forgiven if you follow, or businesses or nonprofits that qualify follow the guidelines. And that's where we come in. We're helping with consulting on the front end of this, but we also have all sorts of filmed sessions on how to get forgiveness. We also can connect you with CPAs to help you work with this, or our counselors. And OEdit also has these PPP forgiveness calculators that you can download for free. And what has changed, the EIDL program is also open. And what's changed with that is originally we were told with the EIDL Advance, which was the grant portion of that funding, that it was forgiven and you didn't need to track it. Now we're hearing from SBA that you must track it and you can use it for certain expenses. So it's important to connect with either us as a counselor or a CPA or go through OEdit to understand how you need to document all of these loans and grants so that you're not penalized later. So we're really trying to get that word out. PPP, because of the changes that happened June 5th, really is something that all small businesses should do, as long as you were always paying at least yourself and tracking that, so we can share how to do that. But just want to make sure you know these two programs are available, and we're here to help with that. And this is the EIDL. It's a slide about how the two interplay with each other. The new rule that clearly says the advance doesn't have to be repaid, because there was back and forth about whether it would have to be repaid or not. Big news here is 3.75% 30-year loan. If you find that because of COVID, as we're all seeing, it's lasting longer than any of us thought or hoped that it wouldn't. And so there's longer term impact, and it might be before August 8th, so we're almost running out of time, that it's worth small businesses to apply, because it can be paid over 30 years. And for nonprofits, that's 2.75% interest. And again, please reach out to our network for free consulting, your CPA, your banker even, or OEdit. So this, to me, is another important slide. It shows kind of where we're at for our center to get our funding and to continue to qualify for our funding through SBA. And I should also add that OEdit also funds our center. That we have to track several things. We have to track how many new clients we have, how many single consulting clients we have, and how many continuous consulting clients that we have, which are called sessions. And then we have to count how many training sessions we do, also how many people attend those sessions. And then we're also measured in both training and consulting the quality of service. So people will be sent out surveys to analyze how our center did and how our consultants did. So we're very heavily monitored in that area. And so I always say that because for me, it's just like a small business. The consulting sessions that we do in training are our customers. So we have to make them happy, and otherwise we won't have a business. And in this case, we won't receive our funding. We're also measured on economic impact. And because we were a new center, we had a pass this year, and then obviously COVID happened. And so we now are measuring impact through EIDL advances that were received with clients that we work through just at our Central Mountain Center. And then also how much PPP was received. And I really want to add this as a caveat that this is only through May, the end of May. And it's only the clients that wished to say that they received impact and said that we helped. Some clients didn't want to share that information. And then they also had to verify it with a backed up email. So it's a small snapshot of what we've done, but it is our measurable impact that we can show at this time. And so the total clients that we worked with from January to June has been 553 clients. That's not sessions. Many of the clients, particularly Cheryl Mahaffey, has worked with about 52 different clients, but she helps them over and over and over through all these steps and processes. So it's not how many touch points, but it's how many individual clients. And this, to me, is where I have a lot more work to be done. Chaffee County, out of that 553, we helped 451 Chaffee County small businesses or nonprofits And I think that's because we had a bit more of a connection through our small businesses, because West Central SBDC Center had existed and our Chaffey County was kind of divided off when they combined us with Lake and Park and created our whole new center. But with Lake, we worked with 50 different businesses and Park with 52 different businesses. So this is where awareness is key. I just had a meeting yesterday with the Park County Commissioners, and that's their big focus is reach out and connecting with small businesses in Park County. So there's more awareness that we bring to the table, all these services. In Lake, though, I'd also like to mention that during COVID, Lake County EDC was wonderful in collaborating with us. So we brought John Trineri, I never say his name right, so I hope that was correct, he's a SCORE counselor with Lake County EDC, and Craig Stoller. And so they were participating in our bi-weekly and weekly conference calls as all these programs were rolling out fast and furious and changing almost every other day. And so John actually tracked those clients through the SCORE program. And so the Lake County EDC would have those numbers. This, I think, is an important slide also, just to have our businesses realize that through our own Central Mountain YouTube channel, and also if they go to our website and look at success stories, we have featured a storytelling series so that businesses can hear stories of other businesses. But more importantly, since COVID, we've had pivot panels, which shares how the businesses pivoted during this very challenging time. So I think it can be inspiring. Plus, it makes small businesses realize I'm not in this alone, and they can even reach out to those individual businesses and ask questions. We are about to switch over to a series called the Resiliency Series to talk about how to create resilient long-term plans for recovery, which could be over the next several years. And then that sounded fun. We started a series called The Power of We, which is women entrepreneurs. And the rollout of that has been surprising to me. It came from, we initially had a We conference scheduled for May 18th, and then it was going to be in person at Mount Princeton Hot Springs, and it was a regional event, and it got canceled. And so I had all these incredible presenters lined up and small business owners. So we rolled that out in a different format called a forum series, and each presenter writes a blog and shares their story with links. And then the third Monday of every month through November, we then have a free webinar from noon to 1:30, and those panelists present their digging in deeper into their blogs. And then there's about 30 minutes afterwards for people to do Q&A or to share their stories. And it's been more on the dream-focused part of our mission, but it's surprising. Like yesterday's session, we had 43 attendees. So I think people are kind of striving for not just how to get through this financially, but how do you get through this situation emotionally. So the blogs are up there. Because this was so successful, the counselors will start writing their own blogs in all different categories of finance, operations, marketing, because I think this will just be a great resource for small businesses to tap into. We also did a small business survey, and I'm sharing a bit of this, but I was disappointed in the results. And our center, we've actually are now on our third pivot. just like most of the small businesses and nonprofits that we support. Pre-COVID, we had March, April, May, all the way through the fall programs scheduled. Everything had to be canceled. Our Access to Money session had 160 attendees already signed up. I think our Power of We had about 60 some, and it was early because obviously we canceled everything in March. So we had to pivot about what the heck are we going to do next? And we decided to roll out a the New World Business Training Series. And that had real mixed results. It was a high cost to produce of $15,000 for the 3 different sessions. We were supposed to have 6, and I stopped them. And I did that because of high cost and low attendance. The intention was those were going to be evergreen, but we found that they weren't formatted to be evergreen because we were really focused on COVID. So we made our second pivot to then send out this business survey that went at the time to our 1,359 businesses and nonprofits that we have in our database, and then sent it out to our chambers as well. I know Salida and Buena Vista chambers then reposted that survey and tried to connect. I know Lake County EDC also sent it out through their membership. Chaffey County EDC did the same thing. Park County did it through their whole newsletter through the whole county. And even with all that effort, we only had 79 responses. So this is a snapshot, but I guess I'm not willing to bet our $105,000 budget on this because, so I'm sharing it in summary. The biggest thing to the 79 responses is most of them were existing businesses. You can see there was a small portion that's also starting a business, which I'm surprised at how many people we've been consulting with who are starting new businesses, and it gives me hope.
Jamie, do you happen to know off the top of your head what the participation numbers, if any, from Lake County were on that survey?
I do, and I think it's on the next slide, but we had only 7 responses from Lake County, and six responses from Park County, and then the remaining were Chaffey.
Thank you.
We can either reinstate this survey and try again maybe after August when summer sales have hopefully been captured, or we can reword it. So this could be a collaborative effort either through Lake County EDC or through Lake County commissioners, however we want to create it. We have an annual membership to SurveyMonkey, and we're certainly happy to get these surveys out as long as we don't overkill businesses with a lot of surveys.
Jamie, I wonder if we can incorporate this to our ongoing outreach with the business advocate group and the recovery team through Leadership of Main Street program. But having an iPad and bringing that out and kind of being able to answer that with, if that's appropriate, might be helpful to gathering more information.
I think that would be wonderful. I think more outreach is greatly needed, and I welcome any opportunities. So in training, this is we had all these different categories, but it was such small pieces of the pie that I put them together. So anything finance related, you can see in the blue, it was 72.35%. And how we did this is they had to pick their top 3 choices. So I think visually it does help to see what the concerns are. What I was pleased about is that finance was so large, because before COVID, that often was low on small businesses' minds. So I think for COVID survival, for recovery and resiliency, finance is huge in this equation. So that our focus, and I probably in a second session, when you allow me to come back, I'll share what we're planning to do moving forward. But in our resiliency program, finance is a big piece of that. Here's where it says the percentage for your park and lake, but I know it was, the red is 7 and the dark blue is 6. Industry, I thought this was interesting. I expected more people to be involved in tourism that participated in this survey, but it really was kind of a broad mix of industries that responded. And we're almost done. What I'm very excited about is that we, Erin McCluskey, who is the Center Director for Northwest SBDC, and Nancy Murphy is with West Central. She's the Center Director there. And then myself, we agreed, because we're kind of Western Slope, rural directors that have a lot of similarities in our areas and needs, and we have limited resources with our funding. So we decided to pool each of our $105,000 CARES money together. So it's $315,000 now that we're working with, and we're creating joint training programs. We're also tapping in jointly with all our counselors, so that as the 3 centers, we understand what those counselors bring to the table for unique needs in our area. And the first session that you'll see where we're having this new unified rollout is how to buy or sell a business. You wouldn't believe through our centers how much COVID has stimulated this need. There's not only a lot of people wanting to sell because they're just like, I'm done with this, but also how many people want to buy a business and get the heck out of the cities. So I think it's a very timely topic. And Bob McNutt is a presenter. He's now going to be one of our Central Mountain SBDC counselors, but is also a Northwest and West Central counselor. And he can help not only with how the whole process, but also how to value your business, or what good value for buying a business is. So this, to me, is an incredible new resource for our center that's new to be available to all of us. And it is free of charge. And then these sessions will be recorded, because our idea is to take them and kind of have a network of groups that are working in this area. So the homework would be to watch this session, and then we would get together either in person, if we're allowed to, with mass, or in a Zoom call by our local groups to kind of network and talk, answer more questions, and then we can assign one-on-one counseling. So that's the.
Amy, this is
Yes.
Marla. I just wanted to share, this is day 8 for me on the job. And I've already had like 3 different businesses and you're right, you're spot on. 2 of them are wanting to get out of the big city. And the other one is wanting to buy a business. One of your counselors has already spoke to her. So this will be really a timely topic, and thank you for putting it together.
Well, it's just, I'm so grateful to tie in with the 2 other centers, because as a center director and a new center director, there's only so much time in the day. So to have these other centers in these types of resources and be able to bring it to our community, to me, is just a gift. So, and the good thing is this isn't just a one and done. So it certainly August 4th is a session you should attend, but it will be evergreen in our programming and platforms moving forward. So in summary, I wanted to say that we have and need to get this word out to anybody and everybody in our areas that our center comes with it a collaborative network with national and state funding, rural support. We're a great value, and we have free services. Then we bring a whole support group of COVID programs and impact opportunities. And then as a new center, we're brand new, so we're finally running like a business with websites, socials, a database. I have 1379 here, but it's now up to 1398. It grows whenever we add training sessions and people sign up to be on our newsletter. And then we offer consulting and training. And then we have this new collaborative business training program and analysis. And where the analysis comes in is that it's not just one and done, like I said, that there's opportunities for group sessions and there's opportunities for one-on-one consulting. So that's why I wanted to call or ask to have a chance to share with you. I'm trying to figure out how to stop sharing my screen here so that I can see you. Are you still there?
We are. Can you see us?
I can't.
Uh-oh.
But that's okay. It's okay. Oh, there you are. Yay!
Jamie,
this is Taylor.
Yes.
I just wanted to tell you thank you, and I had seen your presentation at the EDC meeting on Thursday, and I think that the information that you have is extremely valuable to us. Would it perhaps be appropriate for us to ask our business advocacy group and our recovery efforts to conduct that survey?
Totally. Yes. What I can do is, do you want me to just duplicate the entire survey, or do you want me to customize it to anything you need?
I think if you can send
What
it
if-
to us as it stands right now, then we can look at it and see if we want to customize it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Yes,
that would be great, Kayla. And like you said, Jamie, if there are some things that are more specific to COVID that we may want to change, or we should probably compare it to the survey that we already conducted. I'm not sure if I think that's been shared with you, but we can share that with you again as well, and maybe we can put our heads together and see what more information we might need to glean from the community.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to do it. To me, there's just such a huge need for all of us collectively to support our small businesses and nonprofits. And yet they're so focused on just trying to survive this period. Connecting with them has been very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones all of us collectively are able to connect with, I think we have made a difference, but there's many that don't even know about us.
Yeah. Jamie, what's been your biggest challenge to reach out or support any Lake County businesses, and how can we better help there potentially?
I think it's sort of multifold, and it's just my intuition, not a fact that I know. I think it's a combination of trust. We ultimately are a government entity, even though the counselors and myself, our backgrounds are not in government. I think there's always a little trust concern about, well, why is the government doing this? So however we can work through that. Certainly getting the word out. I mean, I feel we've done ads, we've done lots of good things with the Lake County EDC, who's been very supportive. I don't know if Lake County itself has a newsletter. We've done work with Park County on their news flashes. With Tracy, I'm not sure how the Lake County Chamber is doing, but I do always send our newsletters to Tracy as well. Maybe some testimonial, you know, whatever you think, county commissioners speaking of that, this is a resource.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. I think it's developing awareness and trust.
Jamie, I think you're spot on. From the business advocacy folks that have been doing some visits with our local businesses. Chad from the Main Street program and I have been compiling some data that we're going to present tomorrow, and it is a level of trust and just fear, the fear of the unknown that we all have.
Yep.
That's
yeah, and with COVID, there's because we're in the unknown, there's fear, there's anger, there's denial, you know, there's all those things playing. And I, you know, nationally, it's not helping because there's just so many, so much chaos right now. I think, yes, there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, sorry, I was just gonna brainstorm out loud on kind of enhancing the business advocate effort, and you know, where we can put again, just bringing more of this specific information. And I think that trust too is you know, just comes from that low capacity that we have. And you know, why, I mean, even just spending the 30 minutes to talk with somebody when maybe the reliability or the belief that they won't see that person again. And that shouldn't, you know, that's exactly what the business advocates are. The goal is to be that ongoing liaison and to build those relationships with folks. So I really hope that we can integrate the information that you and the resources that you all have. Yeah.
And do know that Joey has offered to come again. I know he met the commissioners early on. He's my state boss. So with even the advocacy group and the EDC and the Main Street, if you want Joey to come and kind of engage, I can get Tom Monaco or even Katrina. Also Startup Colorado team, you know, whatever the resources that are needed, we can come physically and meet with people too. Because I think even though we have to wear masks and all of that, there is that need to actually see someone's eyes and have trust that way too.
Yeah. I think if we could set something up like that, Jamie, I think it'd be great. Because I think businesses are struggling not knowing that there's a resource out there.
Mm-hmm. How do you see, what can I do to make that happen? Would it be like another Zoom call like this? What
if we connected you with our business advocacy group and with Chad, and we can set up a way to integrate you with our business advocacy? I think that'd probably be the most productive way to do that. Sarah, what do you think?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea too, because Jamie, I'll share, we've only, the advocacy groups only talked to 35 businesses, but there's some resounding themes that we're hearing from them that I know that the SBDC can help with, and I'll share that data here later today.
Okay. Yes. So to connect with Chad and the business, do I do that through Marla? Should I connect with you, Marla, or what would be the first person?
Jamie, I can send you the link for our recovery meeting tomorrow, and maybe we can just have you have a brief introduction on our recovery meeting tomorrow afternoon. And you can listen in on some of the data that Marla and Chad are going to present, if that would be okay.
That totally
tomorrow
is.
At 3:30.
Yes, that's perfect timing. I have a director call before that, but 3:30 would be perfect.
Great. Sarah, do you have any more questions for Jamie or Marla at this point?
No, I don't. I'm eager to kind of join this information with the recovery efforts and get to brainstorming on how to better loop people in. But thanks so much for coming, Jamie.
Thank you, and I'm glad. It's funny, I had to put together this impact, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't spoken to any of our county. You know, how do I get the word out? So thank you for being so receptive. And I particularly need to. Yeah, I need to also.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to also call out Marla and Chris Floyd for all their support as well. So thank you all.
Yes.
And okay, I'll leave now. Goodbye.
Pivoting.
Thank you.
Bye.
So thank you very much for presenting to us today, Jamie. We definitely appreciate it. Are there any other questions of any of our presenters from today for Marla or Jamie before we adjourn this afternoon?
No, I don't have anything. And I don't see anybody else raising a hand or unmuting.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. And I will send out an invitation and update the planner for the recovery meeting tomorrow afternoon. So thank you very much for attending today. We appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.